All right, welcome to another deep dive with us. And today we're going to be diving into Daymond John's book, The Power of Broke. You know Daymond John, right?
Oh, yeah,
The People's Shark from Shark Tank.
exactly.
So we're going to be looking at, how to make it big as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
even if you're starting out, maybe not with a lot.
Yeah, his perspective is especially useful for people who
Mhm.
maybe don't have a ton of resources right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Bootstrapping a business and that kind of thing.
And this book opens with a really interesting statistic. It says that something like 68% of the wealthiest people in America, they didn't inherit their money. They built it from practically nothing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that shift. Inherited wealth is becoming less and less common among those who are like the super rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like more and more it's about
Yeah.
building something from scratch.
Yeah, so it's like that whole image of being born with a silver spoon.
Yeah,
It's not really the reality for most successful entrepreneurs.
yeah, and it's kind of inspiring in a way. It means opportunity is more accessible,
Mm,
regardless of like what your background is. You know what I mean?
absolutely. It's
Yeah.
all about, having the right mindset. And Damon actually tells this story in the book about a guy named Carlos, who was working as a messenger at First Boston. And this guy, he would skip lunch every day just so he could afford to have dinner at like the fanciest restaurants. Yeah. He was basically living his future success in the present. Like that was his way of like, I don't know, visualizing it or something.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, it's like that whole idea of acting as if,
Yeah.
right? You're putting yourself in that mindset even before you achieve that level of success.
Yeah. And Damon talks about his own experiences too. Like when he was starting out with FUBU, he chose to buy a used van instead of like a fancy car.
Yeah.
And he turned that van into like a mobile billboard for his brand.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. Talk about resourcefulness.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of what he calls affordable next steps. It's about making strategic choices that fit your current resources rather than overspending and,
Yeah.
potentially putting your business at risk.
Yeah. And he makes a really good point about how sometimes unnecessary spending can actually hold you back, especially when you're first starting out. Like you've got to be really smart with your money. And one of my favorite stories from the book is about Gigi Butler, the cupcake boss. You know her.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So she started her whole business with only $33 to her name.
Wow.
Can you believe that? $33.
That's amazing. Talk about starting from nothing.
Right.
It's pretty inspiring to see how she turned her setbacks into something positive. She had tried to make it in the music industry, but it didn't work out. And
Yeah.
instead of giving up, she channeled that energy into something new.
Yeah, she had this incredible faith and determination. And the book talks about how she even had to like beg the plumber not to cash her check at
Oh,
one
wow.
point because she was that broke. But she just kept pushing forward. And now look at her. She's a huge success.
It really shows the power of resilience.
Yeah.
Failure is just part of the journey, but it's how you respond to those setbacks that really matters.
Yeah, and Damon talks a lot about that in the book. Embracing failure, learning from your mistakes, it's all part of the process. And another story that really surprised me was about Steve Aoki, the DJ. You know him.
Yeah, of course.
World famous DJ, tons of energy, throws cakes into the crowd.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't know is that he started from broke too.
Really?
Yeah, and here's the thing. His dad was actually super wealthy.
Wow.
I know, right? But Steve, he wanted to do things his own way. He even admitted to stealing Kinko's copies to promote his early events.
Oh, wow. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
So even though he had this like safety net,
Yeah,
he chose the power of broke route.
exactly.
It's interesting because it adds a layer of authenticity to his story. He wasn't just handed success, he had to earn it.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder if having too much at the start can actually be a disadvantage.
That's a good point.
Because, Damon talks about this concept of overfunding, where startups take on way too much investment,
Right.
and it can actually end up hurting them.
Yeah, because they might lose sight of their vision. They're trying to grow too quickly, and it becomes unsustainable.
Exactly. So he really advocates for a more measured approach, like focus on organic growth first, prove your concept.
Yeah, make sure there's actually a demand for what you're offering
Exactly.
before you start scaling up like crazy.
And he uses his own experience with FUBU as an example.
Mm,
He talks about how he used early events as testing grounds to see what sold and what didn't.
that's smart.
Right.
It's all about that proof of concept.
Yeah, you've got to make sure your idea has legs
Yeah,
before you go all in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you don't need a fancy market research firm to do that. You can get feedback directly from your target audience. Test your ideas in real-world scenarios, and that's invaluable.
Yeah, it's about getting out there and proving that people want what you're offering.
Exactly.
Like, remember that shoe company, FUBU? They pitched on Shark Tank.
Oh yeah, the lightweight shoes.
Yeah, they were doing pretty well. I mean, they had decent sales, but Daymond was actually hesitant to invest. He thought more funding at that stage could actually hurt them.
Yeah, I remember that episode. It seemed like they were trying to be everything to everyone. A performance brand, a fashion brand. They even had that NASCAR licensing deal.
He was all over the place.
Right. And their inventory was a mess. Way too many styles and sizes.
Yeah, it felt like they were spreading themselves too thin. Like Daymond said, more money would just amplify those problems.
Exactly.
Instead of letting them focus on what they were good at.
It's like throwing gasoline on a fire that's already out of control.
Right.
Sometimes you need to step back and simplify.
And then you have like the complete opposite. Christopher Gray, remember him?
Oh yeah, the Scully app guy.
Yeah, he's a college student. And he created this app that helps people find scholarships.
He turned his own struggle into a business.
Exactly.
I mean, he was determined to find every scholarship dollar out there. And then he realized other students were having the same problem.
And the sharks were blown away. Lori Grainer gave him exactly what he asked for.
She was so impressed.
It's such a cool story. Like, he saw a need and created a solution. And it resonated with people.
It goes to show that resourcefulness can really pay off. He didn't wait for someone else to solve the problem. He took the initiative himself.
He's like a power of broke poster child. And Daymond really emphasizes authenticity in the book. Like, he believes that you are the brand, especially when you're starting out with limited resources.
Oh, absolutely. When you don't have a big marketing budget, your personality, your passion, your story, that's what matters.
And he has all these great examples, like Acacia Brinley, the social media influencer.
Oh, yeah, she's huge.
She built a massive following just by being herself.
It's amazing how far authenticity can take you.
Right. Like, she started posting pictures and sharing her life online, and people just connected with her.
She seems very genuine.
Yeah, and now she has millions of followers. And endorsement deals with companies like Pepsi and McDonald's.
Wow.
It all happened organically, just from being real.
It definitely reinforces Daymond's point. If it's not authentic, it won't work.
And then there's Rob Dyrdek, the skateboarder.
Yeah, I know him.
He's built an empire, world records, TV shows, businesses, even a skateboarding competition series. And it all started with his passion for skateboarding.
He's a great example of brand integration. Like, everything he does is connected to his passion.
Yeah, and he doesn't shy away from his failures either. He actually sees them as valuable lessons.
That's so important.
Right.
Like, you're going to have mistakes along the way, but it's about learning from them and keeping moving forward.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
It's like he's not afraid to show his vulnerable side.
Yeah, and Daymond makes this point about being broke. It can actually be a powerful motivator.
Interesting.
Like, it forces you to get creative, resourceful, you're laser focused on your goals, because you kind of have to be.
It teaches you to make every dollar count.
Yeah, it's like that saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
And, even Gigi Butler, she still saves every penny, hates wasting anything, because she remembers what it was like to have nothing.
Oh, wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's like that mindset stays with you.
Yeah, even after you've achieved success. So with all these stories, what does this all mean for our listener? Like, how can they apply these power of broke principles to their own life?
Well, Daymond doesn't just tell stories. He gives practical advice, too. It starts with setting clear goals, even if they seem small at first.
Right, those affordable next steps we talked about.
Exactly. Those small wins, they build momentum.
And it's so important to keep learning and adapting.
Yeah, the business world is constantly changing.
You got to stay curious, seek out new knowledge.
And be willing to adjust your course.
Absolutely.
He also talks about finding mentors, people who have already achieved what you're aiming for.
Yeah, learn from their experience.
It's invaluable.
And remember, everyone has something to offer, even if they don't have a ton of money or resources.
That's a good point.
It goes back to that power of authenticity. Daymond says you can start building your personal brand right now.
I like that.
Just by sharing your unique story, your passions.
It's about finding your purpose, owning your journey.
And using your strength to make an impact.
Exactly.
It's not just about financial success.
It's about personal growth.
And making a meaningful contribution.
Absolutely.
It's been an amazing deep dive into the power of broke. What stood out to you the most?
I mean, there's so much wisdom in this book. I really hope our listeners check it out. But if I had to pick one thing, it's that even though the book is called The Power of Broke, it's really about resourcefulness, resilience, and authenticity. It's about recognizing that limitations can actually be our biggest strengths.
Powerful stuff.
So embrace your journey, stay hungry, and never underestimate the power that lies within you.
Perfectly said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep chasing those dreams. We'll see you next